Hi, everyone. Lisa Starr here with another episode of the StarrCast Podcast. Well, we know that we talk about wellness on this podcast, and wellness is the word on everyone's lips. Everyone's opening wellness facilities, and I was really excited to see the influx of investment that's coming into wellness. We've seen great numbers from the Global Wellness Institute on how our industry is really taking off and has taken advantage, frankly, of COVID and the interest of consumers in their responsibility for their wellness. I'm sure you've heard that before on this podcast, the theme. But what I thought there was a really great example of it in the company that we are hosting today. I met Chris Griebe, the Senior Vice President of Fitness for Arch Amenities at, I think, the MindBody Bold Conference last fall. And doesn't it turn out that Arch Amenities has also hired as Senior Vice President of Spa and Wellness, longtime industry veteran Susan Gray. So I'm delighted to have both of them join us today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
So Chris, let's start with you, because those of us that have been in wellness a long time know you less well than we probably know Susan. Chris, I know that your path into the industry was from the fitness side. Could you tell the listeners a little bit about your career journey?
Absolutely. And thank you, Lisa, for having us both this morning. My fitness path really started with physical therapy. My goal in life was to be a physical therapist, and always enjoyed the movement side of physical therapy as a recovery mechanism. Started involving myself in post-rehabilitation and personal training. Got my start while I was going through my graduate work as a personal trainer, slowly evolving into managing groups of personal trainers and then managing organizations and companies, primarily in the country club setting in California. So starting with the country clubs and then working my way into the commercial fitness arena, from very small facilities to very large facilities.
Like, I know you managed a Lifetime Fitness, right? You
Correct.
don't get bigger than that.
Correct. So starting with Lifetime Fitness in the commercial space, and then evolving into the managed arena, right, of the third-party vendor management groups of working as partners within the fitness space, applying fitness and wellness within multiple areas. And then I've got my introduction into WTS, and WTS with Gary Hankin, obviously very well known in the spa and wellness space, as well as the residential lifestyle space. And fitness at the time was evolving for Gary and for WTS. So the growth and the advent of commercial real estate, fitness, country club fitness, the commercial, as well as the hospitality-based fitness centers, and being able to partner with individuals like Susan to grow those has really evolved WTS into now Arch Amenities Group, which we'll speak to here in a little bit.
Perfect. And Susan, you and I have known each other a long time. Back from your days at Bliss in New York. Well, you want to tell the listeners about your story?
Sure. So over, well over 20 years now in spa and wellness. Started my career with at the iconic, Bliss Spas in New York City. Excuse me one second.
Sure.
Okay, pause. We'll restart.
Yes.
I don't know. Just the minute I had to start talking.
Yeah, that's the Murphy's Law of speaking.
Okay, of podcast, I guess.
Yeah, just take your time and start over.
Okay. So yeah, started at the iconic Bliss Spas in New York City in Soho. Helped to grow that brand to over 22 locations in within the W Hotel group. Went on to work for Steiner Leisure Limited, who acquired the Bliss Spas, and went on to work for their other iconic brands like Rimed and Elemis and Mandara. Most recently, before I joined Arch, I was tapped by a group called The Well, and helped open their first wellness center in New York City. Went on to help them open locations in Connecticut and Costa Rica. And right before I joined Arch, working on one in Los Cabos in Mexico. And that was an integrated wellness center in the heart of an urban city, really looking to get understand what people needed from wellness every day versus, a week's vacation or a week's retreat, feeling great when they came back to, their urban center. How did you keep that going? And so we combined functional medicine, traditional spa, food and nutrition under one roof. And so that was really exciting. In October, I was tapped by Barry Goldstein, our CEO, and began the conversations to join Arch Amenity Group. As Chris was saying, we have really brought together some incredible companies with synergies that I think really speak to what people are looking now in wellness, right? That big word. What does it mean? And what are people looking for? And it's a little bit different for everyone. We at Arch are trying to bring that to the next level in a variety of different spaces.
Well, let's speak about Arch for a minute and how it came to be. I mean, WTS has been around for years, started as Washington Tennis, whatever management. Gary was a tennis player, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And, became a manager of many spas, over 50 spas, typically in leisure or hotel facilities around the US.
Correct.
So you have that piece. You had the Meet Hospitality Group, which did hospitality in hotel settings. And then you had LifeStart. So can you maybe, Chris, speak to how those all came together?
Sure, absolutely. It's a great question. It's been an amazing journey over the last 4 years. During a pandemic, right? Of adding 8 companies. We're now up to 8 companies that you've used the term an amalgamation of health and wellness and spa and fitness and you name it, meeting and hospitality and commercial real estate ventures. So starting with WTS, our first acquisition was with LifeStart out of Chicago and Mike Flanagan and team, which was very, very well known and strong in the commercial real estate corporate fitness environment. Then we had Synergy out of Washington, D.C., very similar group with Mike Grossman and team out there. Then the goal was not just expanding for expanding, but what adjacencies exist in companies that can enhance already what we're operating with. So, in the commercial space, in the commercial fitness space in particular, and hospitality and residential, one of those needs for us was with aquatics and expanding our aqua offering. So, with the acquisition of US Pools and NYS Pools, now we have that feather in our cap to be able to go throughout the country with our existing and new agreements and contracts out there of saying, let's offer some really high quality services around aquatics. Lisa, you mentioned Meet Hospitality with Paul Dolce and team, using that very high-end hospitality-based hosted conferencing and meeting environment within New York City. So that's obviously post-pandemic is a very important arena for us to grow and get involved in. That was, again, the feedback from our clients where, what else do you do, right? You do spa very well, you do pools very well now, you do fitness very well. We have spaces in our buildings that could use some activation within hospitality, as well as community engagement and other activation spaces. And then in the spa world, it was obviously the ISM Spa Space and Provide acquisition with the team there that really enhanced what we already had as a wonderful foundation with WTS. And then lastly, Hutchinson Consulting, which many of you are familiar with in that world. So being able to, at our core, right, we're a staffing and management agency. So being able to leverage Hutchinson from a consulting standpoint, as well as a talent acquisition side. So right now, currently 8 companies make up Arch Amenities Group as we stand right now. And we're in over 35 states. We do international design and consulting and feasibility and pre-opening and transitioning and obviously management in these spaces. But we serve over 85 brands, both in the US and outside, with almost 4,000 total team members and growing. So it's been a really exciting last 4 years. And to your point, our investment group within Manhattan CI Capital, I should pause there because I always mess up, Susan, who are invested. I always say CI Partners Capital. I think it is CI Partners.
Yeah, CI Capital.
CI Capital. That's why it's like Capital Investment Capital always throws me off, the CI Capital. Okay. So to your point, Lisa, this is where CI Capital invested in WTS as a start and bringing in these adjacencies to really be able to offer everything to everybody, regardless of the building, the space, the square footage, the amenities being offered. We can meet the needs and actually exceed the needs of our clients in a multitude of arenas, from commercial real estate to country clubs to spas and the like, nonprofit and for-profit facilities within the U.S. and abroad.
So CI Capital invested first in WTS.
Correct.
And then, somebody said, wait, we could do more. It
Correct.
seemed like, was it last year or the last 18 months, every time we turned around, Arch Amenities was buying something else. It's like, wait, they're taking over the world. What's happening? I'm interested in the thought behind that.
Sure.
CI Capital must have seen that there was a synergy and an opportunity. Obviously, private equity is not going where they don't see a return, a potential
Correct.
return. So
Correct.
what do you think sparked that?
I mean, I can take this a little. Well, I think part of it is the vision of our CEO, Barry Goldstein, along with CI Capital Partners, that there was not one company really bringing it all under one roof, right? And really, really seeing those synergies. Because if you're in a hotel environment, or a corporate real estate environment, or a country club, most of them have all these elements that we're talking about. There's spa facilities, there's fitness facilities, there are more and more wellness activations, there are certainly pools, and so I think under Barry's vision, he really saw the opportunity to be a leader in this. We want, ultimately we want, when you think about amenity activation, we want people to think of Arch Amenity immediately, right? So we're always wellness centered, always thinking about bringing our spaces to life. And I think, one of our taglines is, we maximize people and places. And I think because of all the amazing talent we have on the team, in our leadership team, our operations team, is that we know at the core, we need to maximize revenue and utilization, right? In every space that we work. And we have the talent, we have the years of experience to do that. And, I'll give you an example. We pull from each other. We were doing I recently worked with the team on an RFP. Can't tell you for who, but it was, we were talking about spa, but then there was also a residential piece and a fitness piece. And we literally we're like, Chris, you got to change your plans. You got to come and sit at the table, right? Because we have that expertise. And we want to be able to, leverage each other in a very, synergistic way, right? So you could, and what we don't want to do is work in silos, right? And so bringing us all together really helps us, help our clients maximize those space, and really think, especially when we get to design something from scratch, really think holistically about how all these pieces work together.
I think, Susan, that really speaks to how our industry has changed. It was changing 5-8 years ago, but COVID accelerated it. And
Sure.
I'm going to say that the spa is not the silo anymore. It used to be that room in the basement where you had some spa treatments. Wellness has become integrated and connected in a way that it never was. And I'm glad that CI saw that opportunity.
Yes. I think, Lisa, to that point, it's not just the offerings that we're seeing, but these spaces are now blending together, right? In the commercial real estate spaces, Susan and I are working on a project where, they're putting halotherapy into a commercial real estate, multi-tenant building, something you would experience at a very high-end spa, very high-end residential building. Now those lines are blurring as well. So it's the offerings, it's the spaces, it's the design. And it really comes down to the experience more than anything. Individuals are in this post-COVID environment seeking wellness, one, more than ever. Two, they've experienced wellness in different modalities, whether it's a hotel or residential or a friend's house, whatever it might be. Now these are all coming together. And our clients, really this kind of push and pull we're pushing the clients to innovate with these products and services and programs and amazing facilities and activations. And then they're pulling us into it as well, saying we have a space that we now know that wellness is the new it that we need to have in this building or at this commercial fitness center. What can we do to elevate our wellness? And that becomes obviously the great conversation of what is wellness and what are they looking for when they say wellness versus what we think wellness might be.
Yeah. And I'll just add that it also all comes down to people, right? And that is our other pillar, right? Is that we have, every one of our divisions is led from a luxury service standard point of view. We have Forbes five-star standard experts on our team. And we really feel whether or not you're going for a Forbes 5-star in a hotel environment, this is what we're bringing, this is what we're bringing to, the country club or the JCC or what any of the spaces that we activate. Our teams are being trained on luxury service because it is really the people, right? You can have the most amazing space, but always, right, at its core, the people bring it to life. And so I really want to make sure, that we talk about that a little as well, because, with, as Chris said, now close to, I think it's close to over 3,000 people, team members in the field, interacting with guests and customers every day. That is so important. So that elevated service is always at the core.
That's a crucial point you make. When we're talking to wannabe spa owners about designing their facility, and they're all about how it will look, and it's going to have this bell and that whistle. And you have to say, that's all great, but the guests don't come back because you have beautiful curtains, right? They come back because the experience of interacting with your team was excellent. Yeah. And most spa treatments are not held in a vacuum, right? I mean, they're with other people, although we're expanding on that, and we can talk about that later. Yeah. But it's not all about the environment, it's about the people. And of course, people have been our biggest challenge in the last few years. That again was happening before COVID and has accelerated. Was that something that was behind your acquisition of Hutchinson?
Absolutely, it was. I think our talent acquisition team has always been amazing, but adding this additional expertise from Hutchinson to be able to tap into the resources, the bench of individuals that they have in the wellness space to help us secure staffing was critical. During the pandemic and now even more so post-pandemic. For us, as we, not only are expanding, but with our focus, as Susan mentioned, around the people development and those processes around that and enhancing and creating career pathing for individuals within the spa and the fitness and community engagement and all of our different divisions, coupled with the fact that I could wake up tomorrow as a team member and say, I'd like to move to Aruba, possibly in 6 months and take a spa job down there. So the opportunities to create that internal network for individuals to join us, to grow, to move, to transfer, I think has been very appealing for us, but absolutely with the addition of Hutchinson and what they bring on to Arch has been instrumental in helping us not only secure, but retain top quality talent.
Does the word Arch mean something? Like, was there some intention behind that creation of that brand?
Absolutely. So I'll take a little bit, Susan, and then you can talk through it.
Go ahead.
If anybody's been through a naming exercise, as you can possibly imagine, with putting 8 companies together, in solving that dilemma of what name should we be, Arch really in its simplest form is a connection point between people and places, and that connector within the amenities in the building. So it's really about the synergistic connections between anything in a space, between people, other people together, between other divisions, right? As we've talked about, between the spa and wellness division and fitness and community engagement. So that connection in that overarching way.
Yeah. Okay. Nothing to add there. Chris nailed it, right? Connections between individuals and spaces. And
Well, I like it. And I also like the image of it, something that you pass through, like the portal.
Correct.
With the arch over it into this world. I like the connotation of that. As you said, it's so difficult to name anything now. They've all been taken, and you have to
they have
make up
and then,
words, or it's been
exactly.
really creative. So private equity money, looking for return. It's no surprise that they would see, strength in numbers and, a better return across a broader portfolio. I'm interested in how that looks from the investment side with all the pieces fitting together. We know traditionally in the spa operation side, margins have not been very big. The labor cost is so high, but of course that's different in some of your other silos. So, tell me a little bit about the vision behind how they see this morphing forward.
Absolutely. Do you want to go, Susan?
Yeah, I'll tackle it, and then you can you can run point. And remember, I'm here a few months. I'm here a few months. I think the first piece was bringing all the right companies together, right, under the arch, to be able to add value. Chris mentioned in the intro, right, we have brought in, through one of the acquisitions with ISM, for example, we brought their spa portfolio, but also a product portfolio and a technology portfolio, and lots of exciting news that's going to be coming out from that technology side in the near future. So really, I think part of it is looking at how we grow together, but how also specific pieces of the business can potentially be disruptors, right? And as we know, technology is in our industry in particular will be a big disruptor. So I think that there's a lot of focus and interest in that side of the business. We also, from a management perspective, although I'm now under, and I'll speak to the spa division specifically, right? In our management contracts, or we have management contracts and we have lease deals, having brought both of these companies together. Under the management side, we add value, it's a little bit less risky for us, right? We're not holding leases per se on most of the locations that we manage. And so from we bring all our expertise, we garner a management fee and incentives, and how we grow that, right, is on the one hand by volume, right? So we're increasing the number of locations we're bringing to our portfolios. We're looking more specifically at partnering with certain portfolios and brands. We have great relationships out there, and we're continuing to build those. For example, like with Kessler, the Kessler collection is one of the collections that came in through the ISM portfolio, and so we hope to grow with them, right, in ways. We have a number of locations under the Starwood Hotel, Starwood Capital, and the One Hotel brand. And so we see our vision, we see ourselves growing with those partners. And so, in the way that we're able to ensure the health and the growth and the revenue growth and utilization in each of these locations, it allows us to that's how we make money, right? From the management side, and then from an incentive side, and continuing to, I think, specifically grow specific portfolios. I'll let Chris take a stab on the fitness side.
On the fitness side, for me, it was really, from my perspective, to solve for two things. Number one was to solve for the client who says, I want one group to be able to offer it all under my building. I want spa, I want fitness, hosted conferencing, food and beverage, meeting space management, you name it, all within. So we are that one-stop shop. So I think that was really kind of the impetus behind creating these top brands and putting us all together to be able to solve for that solution. The other one on the other side was, how do we use these adjacencies to expand our already existing contracts? So we've done that in the fitness space and the other contracts where obviously we also have a preventative maintenance division. So how can I add quote unquote Arch Amenities preventative maintenance already onto our existing management contract? How do I add community engagement services and hosted conferencing services and spa services if they're looking at building a spa in these buildings? So now we can take a contract that might have been 5 years ago, just fitness, and be able to add 4 or 5 or 6 other layers and expanding that contract to provide a better value. And you have the synergies behind the fact that all of those groups under that building are now the same company. So we're sharing resources, there's communication, there's not any conflicts, those types of things. So I think it was really solving for those two things. One, we do the one-stop shop. Two, expanding what we already are offering. And then of course you put that together and it's just showing the growth that we've had over the last 3 years.
Well, you have to assume over time that your ability to be so integrated is going to improve your retention of the relationships in these places too. Once you're so in there, it's too hard to change course at that point.
Well, and of course, because we're doing a great job too. So that helps.
Course.
Most, from a, I think many, whether ownership groups, hotel groups, like they really want someone to come in. They want it to run seamlessly. And so that's what we bring to the table. So they don't have to worry about it. Right. But we really work in partnership, we're in constant contact with our clients, our teams on the ground, attend weekly stand-ups. They have they do, monthly end of month, meetings with our clients. We are, it's truly a partnership, but at the end of the day, they know that they can count on us, right? And it's that one part of their business or multiple parts of their complicated businesses that they don't really have to worry about. And they can, they can join in the accolades that come along with it. We have on the spa side with a number of locations that, have received Forbes 4 and 5 standard designations. Sometimes the spas get that designation before the hotel does. And then they come to us, they're like, how do we do it? Right? Get us there. And so, I would say, it truly is a partnership between Arch and our clients.
Well, I liked your comment about complicated, because many people from the day spa to the hotel spa to the fitness center, they think, oh, this will be fun. It's so relaxing to have a spa business and it'll just run itself. And they very quickly find out that is very far from the truth.
Yes,
they're very complicated, many moving pieces. And you're dealing with clients who all may want something different in the same facility. It's just very people driven and very much more management intensive than I think companies realize. So I'm sure it's really attractive to be able to just say to you professionals, hey, you take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Susan, you mentioned the technology, and I'd like to drill down into that a little bit. I think you're talking about Spa Space, which was a payment platform for spa technicians, right? Now we know that labor on the spa side is by far the most expensive piece of a spa operation. And I know that the ladies at Spa Space had come up with a way, using their Chicago location as a beta site, right, to do this. Would you care to speak to how that will work as you roll it out?
I could, well, so you're speaking of Alana Alberico and Christina Stratton, the two amazing powerhouses behind Spa Space, Provide, and formerly ISN, International Spa Management. And so you'll have to have Alana on to really dig into Spa Space. But I mean, I can speak to it a little bit right now. And listen, there are incredible spa systems out there. What Alana, really thought about during COVID is is that need to pivot, right, and create something that didn't exist for a, COVID and post-COVID world, right? And it's the way Spa Space operates now in some locations is a way to be a little more self-service from the profession. We call them professionals in the spa space universe. They're contract professionals, licensed massage therapists, and estheticians. It allows, spa locations that use that platform to initially, well, I should back up a little and say initially when, right post-COVID, when locations were just starting to open up, hours of operation were still a little difficult. Finding staff was a little difficult. It allowed them to operate in a self-service mode. So you could book your appointment online in spa space. You can, the client would enter the spa or location. The professional would meet them there, and they would be able to have an incredible service, sort of integrated and efficient. You allowed the technician to tailor the treatment to the specific need of the guest. And then checkout was very seamless, all on the app, and allowed the professional to get paid immediately. And so in right now, what the team, Alana is the president of Spa Space, and what they are working now is on a version 3, right? So what that will look like from an enterprise solution, I can't really talk about on this podcast today, but you will have Alana on. But I think, yes, there are, we need to look for, as we innovate in our wellness universe, and I'll put all of us under it, because it's not just a spa solution. It's going to be a fitness solution. It's going to be a pool amenity management solution. It's going to be an engagement and solution. And so I think what we're looking, what Alana is looking at, is to really be a disruptor in that space, and put technology forward in our universe, right? Not taking away from the hands-on professional touch, right? That is always going to be there. It's really making building efficiencies for business owners on the one side, and the professional technicians on the other side, and really creating a network that anyone can, on the platform, can access. So excellent. I know that's very big and roundabout, but you'll, stay tuned for more from Alana and Spa Space. And she'll be at iSpa this year if you're there this year too.
Great.
You can.
We're certainly open for innovation in that space. We've been doing things the same way for a very long time, and it is ripe for something different. We're not the earliest tech adopters in the spa and wellness field, I would say.
And fitness isn't too far behind. So no. I would say we're very excited about the opportunities to enhance what we already have from the people management space with the spa space technology side of it. I'm also really happy to announce last October, we launched our Arch Digital app. So part of technology is, again, people are at our center. We know relationships, accountability. You can't replace that personal trainer, with an app. So I sought a partner that was going to be able to blend those worlds of both live and virtual, and really focus again on the service and the accountability and the communication. So we've worked together with Trainer Eyes and Les Mills to create an app that we now call Arch Digital, that is everything from member intake, virtual personal training, live personal training scheduling. I can create programs, and our trainers can create programs for small groups of individuals, for companies, all the way to cascade through the entire organization of all of our sites. And then we know everybody is everywhere now, and so you might not be in the center every day or on the weekends, or you're traveling. We needed a solution to be able to connect with our members outside of those four walls, and this is where Arch Digital came from over the last few years. So you have those on-demand group fitness, and then it's more than group fitness right now, which I'm really happy about in our partnership with Les Mills and others. It's meditation, it's breath work, it's mindfulness, it's recovery, which is so important these days, and really important for our members, to be able to prescribe those programs to our members and through this Arch Digital. So fitness is also right alongside from a technology standpoint. We have to meet our members and guests and tenants where they are, and this technology, as well as Spa Space, is allowing us to do that.
That's fascinating. So, Chris, are you saying that there is an app where I can take group fitness classes or training? I'm sure it's a subscription fee, but they're available to all?
It's available to all. So within our ecosystem, every member through the client has access to Arch Digital.
Mhm.
So you'll have access to either prescripted programs and a wealth of over 200 classes within Les Mills, but our instructors at our sites can also pre-record these videos and post them up. We have nutritional content and education. So my goal was, it was more than just a fitness app, right? There's a million of them out there. I wanted that wellness app. I wanted that solution that was going to be able to attract everyone. If you weren't a fitness enthusiast and weren't into HIIT classes, but you really were into meditation, or you're really into meditate or nutrition content, and having somebody hold you accountable for food intake and food logs and those types of things, was be able to have that for all of our members across the platform.
That's amazing. So if I'm a spa guest at a Arch managed property, is it accessible to me?
That is our next phase of the rollout, Lisa. So
Okay.
we're getting through all of our fitness centers right now. Starting in October, we had our launch, and we've gone through those, and now we're working with our residential, hospitality, and spa division as well to offer the solutions for them. But yes, we have our first pilot within the spa world coming soon.
That's tremendous. So can you speak to how many properties are under Arch management right now in the spa and wellness space? And do you see a better ROI in the properties that have more elements or that have a spa versus not? Can one of you speak to that?
Sure. I mean, so in the spa, in our spa division, we have about 75 facilities right now. Chris in fitness, Chris has over 200. Chris has over 200.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our total, we're almost with all things, Lisa, we're almost to 500, including pools, community engagement, fitness, spa,
Wow.
hosted conferencing, food and beverage, you name it. We're almost approaching 500 there.
So when the powers that be stand back and look at those silos, are we seeing better return in one area versus another? I'd love to hear more about how that looks.
From my standpoint, we're seeing better returns when we're offering more under that proverbial roof, right?
Mhm.
So if it's a facility where we have community engagement, hosted conferencing, a spa edition, as well as fitness, right? I kind of use the country club as a little version of that, where they do exceptionally well in that space of creating communities, creating programs, offering everything to the country club member, and residential members would probably be second from that standpoint. So we do very well from it's around utilization, right? It's around where can we garner the most utilization or penetration from a population within a high-rise residential building or commercial real estate building in downtown New York, or a commercial health club, right? So we have now, in our commercial health club settings, we have partnered with Susan and her team in making sure we have world-class destination spas within those. We have golf simulators and recovery, relaxation, massage rooms, and we're offering everything within those. So those absolutely have a better return and a better utilization compared to, the traditional silo method if it was, just spa or just fitness.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the non-labor component or touchless or low touch wellness treatments. Do you have much of that, and where do you see that going? Where you mentioned recovery, Chris, a client might sit in a meditation booth or have cryotherapy or halotherapy. I mean, what's Arch's thoughts on those kinds of treatments?
Yeah, I think, Susan, why don't you take that? I think we're definitely aligned on
Sure.
the option of wellness for everyone, right, is the concept here.
Yeah, and so I think we are bullish on the touchless therapies where they make sense. And we, through our preferred vendor program, we have incredible vendor partners. We're working with a company, probably Lisa have met them in New York, called Escape, which is
I've had that treatment.
You've had that treatment. We launched Somadome meditation pods in a location in Chicago. We're talking to the team that does the PIMI and the VIMI beds, and so we absolutely, as we are building out, particularly as we are building out world-class wellness centers and facilities where there will be a blend of traditional and non-traditional, like the touchless therapies, we're looking at that. We're looking at that. In locations where it is hard to staff, we are especially looking at that. If we have a location up in, Seneca Falls, or a casino in, in the middle of, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, or another, similar hard to reach place. Our Hot Springs is not so hard to get to, but we definitely have locations in harder to reach places, harder to staff. Locations, we are talking to our clients about integrating some of this touchless technology. In locations where, we have, sort of larger, facilities with, 15 plus treatment rooms is, how they used to build them. That we're not sort of how they're built, these days. What is the opportunity to bring those type of treatments in, right? And work with the team on selling those, right? And they are perfect. If you don't have staff on hand, you can offer one of these touchless treatments. Again, it doesn't replace traditional, it's an enhancement
Exactly.
to that traditional touch that we all love. But it's very interesting. And it also, it does allow us to bring that, wellness to the masses to an extent, right? And somebody might be able to experience, I think the Somodome Pod is a nice low cost way for someone to experience wellness, right? In a way that they haven't. And many of these companies also are doing that on their own, right? They're bringing it into schools. They're working with, high schools or athletic teams, or, organizations that maybe don't have, the kind of funds and access that, 5-star resorts have, people who frequent 5-star resorts go to. And so I think we really like to say that our goal is really to, we work with all kinds of clients. We really want to be able to bring, bring that wellness democratization. It's very hard. I know that our industry has talked about it for a long time, but little by little, and I think with some of these technology, with technology, we're closer to being able to do that.
And from the fitness standpoint, in wellness from our side, Lisa, the touchless treatments, right? The vibrational technologies, the hydro beds and those types of things. For us, it's all about just engaging that different type of member, right? Everybody has a different version of what is wellness to them. Not everybody wants to get on a treadmill and have bench press Monday. But if I can set up a high-priced kiosk in our facilities that I might come down and take a 5-minute wellness break from being on the computer all day upstairs and do a quick treatment on my neck from a vibrational, tool standpoint. It's really just that gateway of getting them into the facility. So we're offering more experiences that might attract, more of that population versus, what we've traditionally seen in fitness. And it's working. It absolutely is working. It's taking that first step and experience that 5-minute restorative vibrational, massage, and then having a conversation with one of our team members, getting through an orientation, showing some of the equipment, talking about their goals, and then soon enough, in a month or two, they're comfortable and they feel great. And really, technology from the virtual technology standpoint has also done that. People are more comfortable, taking content in from a screen. They're more comfortable with trying a class at home, and now they're ready to try the class in the facility. So technology, again, not replacing what we have, but it's really expanded the reach that we've had for people that might have been more intimidated traditionally pre-COVID than they are now. And that's why we're seeing greater utilization in all of our fitness centers, greater membership, everything based on that.
It really is a great time for wellness. And it's funny to think that it came out of a catastrophic event for the world, but we do have their buy-in. And I like what you're saying, Chris. Massage, we have no trouble filling massage rooms. No spa that I consult with anywhere in the world has any trouble filling their massage rooms. It's more about getting the staff. But these touchless therapies are, as you've both said, not meant to replace, but to augment what we offer. I love that they're quick. You can be clothed. You can stop by and in 15 minutes get something in your street clothes that delivers some relaxation or stress relief to you in a very effective way. And I think, Chris, to your point, that opens us up to a wider variety of customers than we had before.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think it comes down, right? It's personalization, right? This is what we're seeing that customers and clients want, right? Um, they want experiences built around their preferences. And so technology allows us to do that, right? It allows us to understand our customer, and particularly from a repeat business standpoint, we understand, what they're looking for, what they might want on their next visit. And as we garner that information and as we build out new spaces, we're able to really, I think, really build on that.
So let's talk about the future as we wind down here. I mean, you seem to be taking over many aspects of wellness and leisure. I see two opportunities probably in medical integration, like perhaps a biostation or a fountain life piece, and then the distribution side of products. And I mean, are these directions you think that Arch will perhaps also go into in the future?
I think on the medical side, yes, we are actually working with BioStation. We are going to, bring them in to our client, to introduce and bring them in into facilities where we think it makes sense. Obviously, we could talk a whole nother podcast on the medical piece. There's the complexity there really makes a company, bringing in like a biostation or a vital lounge, really like sort of an easy, an easy integration with, with many different facilities, and allows that facility again to grow in and augment their revenues in ways that maybe they hadn't before by partnering. So we are definitely thinking about that and in all of them, not in spa and country club, as we build it, working with clients on building out all types of spaces. From the product distribution side, we do own we own a product company called Provide. And we have Provide products and services in some, not all our locations, but obviously looking to grow that. Chris just launched a program with Provide in the fitness centers where we're highlighting one particular product. Our muscle lotion makes perfect sense. Perfect. Incredible product. He's put dispensers in, I think now over 80 fitness locations. And so it creates, right, it's an incredible product. It's functional and it makes sense in that environment. And then there's a QR code a customer can then scan and go right to the website and purchase. So we're looking to build out that Provide product distribution within our client
existing
partners.
Products.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the opportunities for wellness, right, as they're ever evolving, which is really exciting. I think the most exciting thing for me is what we don't know in 6 months that we'll have at one of our sites or all 500 of our sites. That's really exciting. I've been hearing a lot of conversation lately in the fitness world of the more focus again back on population health outcomes, Lisa. So a lot of conversations around in addition to wellness, to your point around medical, physical therapy, chiropractic, other services that they want, again, under this one roof. So what's exciting about Arch is who knows what other partners that we're going to have out there in the next 3 to 6 to months or beyond, but really exciting to look at, defining what is wellness, again, pushing the clients into that wellness, getting pulled into that wellness advent, connecting all of us together to really maximize utilization and maximize the experience that every member, guest, tenant will have in any of our sites. And then, constantly evolving and being innovative for programming and meeting those needs of all of our customers is going to be paramount to bring us into the future. Really excited about the muscle therapy lotion, right? Like a perfect example of a small scale wellness enhancement within a fitness center now to expose our members to something that they didn't have 2 months ago. And it's just really that's just the tip of the iceberg for how we can collaborate together and enhance our services within our facilities.
Well, it sounds like the future is very bright for Arch Amenities. I mean, I look forward to seeing properties maybe that you're able to design from the ground up that incorporate all of these features. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, more to come. We can't wait to show the world.
Well, thank you both for being with us today on StarrCast. Susan Gray and Chris Griebe, really appreciate your time, and we look forward to hopefully seeing more of Arch Amenities in our future.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for the time. Lisa, I think it's really important for us to also address the fact that because of the staffing shortages and, obviously all of our clients and customers are looking at the efficiency of cost savings, the efficiency of staffing. So spa space and the advent of the technology flowing into the fitness division will give us that opportunity for a member and a guest and a tenant to still be able to push a button and get a yoga instructor, get a massage therapist, get a personal trainer to serve them without having to staff someone full time, and creating a network of professionals that are exceptional. And then you as the customer can actually define, I'm interested in somebody with lower back experience to help me through my lower back injury. Or I want to improve my golf game and be able to create that network of individuals. So what Spa Space has created, which we're looking for in this version 3 or even version 4 for fitness, is really exciting for the industry. I do not want to reduce the level of experience that any of our members, guests, or tenants have, but more about that enhancement. And so getting the opportunity to bring in professionals on demand is what consumers want, right? It's really, what we've been conditioned with Uber or Uber Eats or any of those other companies where I want it now, I push the button and I get the service. So I'm really excited about what's to come.
Yeah, trusted, thoroughly vetted wellness providers. So that, that is always the, that is the bar. And then we can personalize and build those, build treatments around guests, but always, it'll be trusted and vetted.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. We want it now where we are at our level. We want it customized, not much.
And getting creative with the staffing models, right? Resources, everybody's looking at those resources. So if we can provide, still that Forbes level of standard at a slightly less staff load as a traditional model maybe 5 years ago, that's what our clients are asking for. And so we're being creative with programming right during the peak times of building, not just having somebody there 7 days a week just because you need someone there 7 days a week, but being very creative and innovative around staffing models and around programs that is going to capture the highest rate of individuals in our buildings is absolutely critical for the success of us moving forward.
If you want to come work for cool operations experienced veterans like me and Chris, we want you. So come and join our teams.
Good to hear. It's a bright future, and we look forward to seeing what you all create.